What's up guys? This episode we're diving into improving our map searching by using Elasticsearch as our backend for this. So this is going to require us to spin up an Elasticsearch instance that runs separate from our Rails app. So if you're on Heroku or on your own server, you're going to need to add Elasticsearch to that so that you can index all of your records and their locations to Elasticsearch. But Elasticsearch has really good and robust geosearch, so we're going to be using that and just configuring our Rails app to talk to that using the searchkick gem, and that's going to give us far better results than what we see so far. So one of those problems that I've seen is that when we draw this map and we use the geocoder gem to do a radius search in this bounding box, when we go to some of these pages, you will see here we get 5 results. One's kind of hidden up there at the top. But if we go to the next page, there's another one hidden at the top, but where's the 5th one? I only count 4. And the reason for that is because anytime you have a rectangle or a square and you draw a circle around it, the circle is going to cover more area on those edges, and so that is not going to be visible on the map, but it could show up in our results, which is kind of problematic because that means that our map doesn't actually match up to our search results. So, you could try to figure out how to calculate a smaller radius search that only is the radius inside of this rectangle, find the shortest side and all of that stuff from the center. You could do all that work, but we could also just go to Elasticsearch and have it take care of all of that for us. And so that's what we're gonna do in this episode. And then next one, we're going to Ajaxify all of this to make it really slick and automatic. So when you drag this around, you don't have to click redo search in this area. We can trigger that automatically using Google Maps. So as always, first things first, we want to install that searchkick gem and then go to your terminal, run bundle and install it, and then restart your Rails server. So we're going to do that real fast. And then we need to hop back into our model for this. And we need to add a method in here called search data, which is what searchkick will look for. So if you add searchkick in here, searchkick, location, this will tell it that it needs to geocode index these locations with the names of whatever you put in this array. Ours is going to be called location, and we're going to take and override the search data method so that we can tell searchkick what the latitude and longitude is for location. So we're going to take all of the attributes from the transaction model, we're going to index them, and then we're going to merge in location here. And this is a hash of lat, which is latitude, and long, which is longitude. And we're using slightly different abbreviations here, LON instead of LNG, which we were using in our JavaScript, so keep that in mind as we do this. This is going to just create a sort of fake attribute that we can search against called location, and that will be then available when searchkick is indexed. So searchkick will also automatically index everything, but we're going to go to our Rails console because we already have a bunch of records in our database. But any new ones or edits or whatever that you make will be re-indexed, but we need to go and say transaction.reindex for all of the existing records. So we can go send those over, and we have 985, and it took about 1 second to do that. So that has sent them all over. They have all been indexed, and we should now be able to do our search using Elasticsearch. So our search for this was inside of our controller. We had several different ones. We have this params L, which is the bounding box version. So we want to search within that southwest latitude, southwest longitude, and northeast latitude and longitude. And here where we grabbed the center and the distance and created the bounding box, we could have done those more calculations to find a circle that's inside instead of outside or around the edges. But that was kind of the best we could do easily with the existing thing. So instead, we want to say transaction.search to call the search from Elasticsearch here. And then we need to do a more complex thing here with a big old where statement. So what I'm going to do is put this in here, and then let's pull up the searchkick documentation so you can see this. basically you have a few different options. You can still do a near, just like we did before. So if you get a latitude and longitude, say you type in Sacramento, California, we can then geocode that manually with the geocoder gem, then get the lat long, and then pass it into Elasticsearch. Before, we just called near on this line right here, and it will take the string of Sacramento, California, it will geocode it, and then it will search the database for you all in one method. So now this step is going to be 2 steps when we get around to changing this over, but that won't be too big of a deal. Or we could just let geocoder take care of that for us, because we aren't going to get maybe a huge difference in results, but it would probably be nice to convert this. So let's go ahead and do that in a little bit. But what we're really looking for is this one right here, bounded by a box. So we want to grab all of these parameters here, and then we're going to change this so that it shows up dynamically in here. So we have a location that is a top left latitude and longitude, so we'll split this onto different lines so you can see all this, and bottom right latitude and longitude. And these are going to correspond to those coordinates that we are searching on. So let's get this all cleaned up, and we'll get rid of those. And then we need to plug in the southwest corner and the northeast corner into the location here, but it's actually the opposite coordinates. So we have the southwest and northeast, and we actually need the top left and the bottom right, which is the northwest and southeast. So it's a little bit different, but we can just switch the latitudes on these and pass them into the correct place, and that will work just fine. So we need to remember that we have the northeast latitude. Latitudes are the lines that go north and south, so that is what we want here, but then we want that paired with the southwest longitude, and then we want for this one the southwest latitude and the northeast longitude. And so with that there, we can then plug in page, params, page, and per page of 5. Those are then going to make it so that it will be compatible with Kaminari on our front end in our views, and then this is going to save us from having to deal with any of those pagination problems. Now with this, you'll see just how much better this is every single time we visit one of these pages. We can skip around and we'll see that all 5 of those are much more visible than they used to be, because we're not going to ever risk getting those on the edge of that circle that aren't visible on our map. So that improves our search quite a bit there, just by being able to search a rectangle or a polygon. If you ever wanted to do something like that, you can do that really easy with searchkick, which would be, I think, impossible to do with geocoder. So the last thing that we want is we want to be able to say Sacramento, California, and search this, and then have it geocoded and then do this search, but do that search using Elasticsearch, because right now this is still using geocoder, and it would be better to do all of our geo searches with the exact same service, Elasticsearch in this case. So searchkick provides us a near method which we can use to replicate exactly what we have right now. So if we copy this code for the search, we can then go to our controller, and for the near option we can say transaction.search. We're gonna not pass in a text query. We're gonna have the same page params, page here, and per page is 5, and then we'll have that where query, and I'll break this down for you so you can see it a little bit better. And this is just going to take a latitude and longitude and a search radius, and that is it. So it's nothing too fancy here, but this is going to then give us that same sort of search near a location, but we're gonna have to get that location first. So we would have to do geocoder.search and pass in that params near here and do this manually. We want the first result from that, and then we want this location, and we can say location.latitude, and we can do location.longitude here, and that's gonna then give us pretty much the exact same functionality that using geocoder would have done. So let's try that now. Let's go search Sacramento, California, this is going to zoom in on Sacramento and then give us those results. And these are going to be within 100 miles. Let's change that to something like 5 miles, and you can control this and set it up however you want. Sacramento, California. And now you'll see that our results are much, much closer to downtown Sacramento. And our zoom here is kind of set to 2 kilometers. So it's going to be much more close to that 5 miles that you'll be able to see on this map. And this should move around a little bit with the different ones that we get as it searches further and further away and so on. So this is going to set those up to be searched now with searchkick, pretty much the exact same method, but we're still using geocoder to search and geocode the Sacramento, California word into a latitude and longitude. Now, one of the beautiful parts about Elasticsearch is that when you want to get into sorting those results, you can do all kinds of different things. For example, you can boost by distance and give it just simply a latitude and longitude to search near. And so that's going to give you the same sort ordering that the near query did from geocoder. And all we have to do is copy that piece and paste it in. It doesn't go inside the where, it goes next to it. And then if we go back to our browser and we search again, we'll see that these results are beginning very, very close to downtown, and the next page that we go expands out. And the previous thing without that would have kind of given it more of a random results set or ordering, and that's actually probably fine for a lot of cases. If you're building something like Yelp where you want to type in maybe lunch or dinner or pizza or sushi or something like that, you might want to also make sure that your boosting and your search results are ordered by matches of sushi or pizza, more importantly than the distance. So you can fine tune how all of that stuff works with searchkick, which is very, very hard to do without your own dedicated search engine here. And if you want to get really into it, you can set the function and the scale and the decay for how it can boost by distance. And there's all kinds of stuff that you can go into and tweak and fiddle with this for a very long time to get everything set up how you might want. So there's also some really neat stuff where you can search shapes as well instead of just locations. And so you can look into more of that. It's definitely out of scope of this video, and you know, maybe isn't even something most of us will ever need, but it is there and it is available for you if you ever need to do something more complex with maps and search. So Elasticsearch is pretty much the way to go. I would recommend this over pretty much everything else, but if you want to just get started, geocoder is going to be required anyways for us to geocode locations. So you might as well start with that search, and then you don't have to have the whole large dependency of Elasticsearch as a separate service and kind of database running in the background. So that is it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. In the next episode, we're going to talk about making the maps and the markers all Ajaxified so that the navigation between all of these things is a lot smoother. So we will talk about that in the next episode. Peace.